We are live.
Hi. Scoop, scoop.
There's so many screens in my face, I don't know where to look.
But we're here.
Oh, that's a wonderful shirt you got there. Where'd you get that, Courtney?
From my dear friends. I was saying that Michaela's like a wild heart sandwich.
Yeah.
No, I gotta get better at wearing my shirt.
It's a good shirt.
It is.
Yeah.
I would have worn the black one.
I know. I heard you like the black one.
And I wanted you guys to know that Michaela was so pleased with her pant choice this morning.
No, I'm not.
It was
a
a really major topic of conversation.
Well, I really wanted to wear the ones with the holes in the knees, but I knew a couple people would call me out on wearing them every
Yeah, but I
week.
liked them. That's the ones I really liked.
It was supposed to be like 4 weeks.
Truthfully, I was trying to look for mine ones so we could match.
We could match?
Yeah.
Next time. It might just become a thing where I wear them.
I put these out of the hamper.
I said we can get 5 different looks this week.
So you had 3 last week?
4.
Yeah, there was like a Patriots one.
There
was like a homeless one at one point.
My mom.
I was like, where am I going on Monday?
That's a great transition because this tooth is a cap, and at one point, like, I'll show you a picture later. My mom literally had this grizzly beard, and I feel like last year in 2018, my like dress theme was homeless. My mom's like, you look like you're a homeless guy from Seabrook. Okay, get your tooth fixed. I was like, I love you, Mom.
They got knocked out in a food fight.
Food fight?
Shut up. Yeah, I was a freshman in high school, and we were like throwing these little, they're called monkey balls. They're like cinnamon balls.
Yes, so good. I remember that.
And I ducked, and I hit the counter, and my 2 front teeth were right to the sink.
Dodging monkey
My
balls.
mom was so mad. She got called, because she had to pick me up.
Yeah.
Oh.
And they were like, come get your daughter. And she was like, I'm not impressed, Courtney. I was like, sorry.
Sorry, I'm just great at life.
Oh my God.
So yeah, and I'm always so nervous, like I can't eat corn on the cob or chicken wings or
really?
Or like an apple, like I miss biting into an apple.
Oh, is there the chance to? I thought they're like once they're permanent though.
I mean, you've knocked yours out like 7 times.
Well, no, this is a cap though. I get the permanent one on the 30th. Like this is just a cap.
And so you can take it out?
I mean, no, I'd have to try. It's like glued. No, no, it's like it's designed to stay.
It falls out a lot.
Yeah, they do.
I feel like our listeners are like, are we talking about teeth?
Courtney's here to bring us back on track.
Sorry.
Okay.
Regroup.
Coming back now. Coming back. Good morning. Good morning, everybody. Good morning.
I want to say that I have the coolest mug of everybody. Mine's a wolf.
You do.
I don't know what screen to point this at, but I'm very.
Everybody sees. Yeah, you do.
Yes, here at Wild Hearts we provide very creative mugs.
Truthfully, I thought I was gonna have to bring my own.
No,
what do you think this is?
I don't know.
I love
questionable. Questionable.
Yeah, screw it. You never know where you're going.
All right.
Also, send in your votes because I think that they need an intern to like help with the mechanics.
Actually, yes. Please send in your votes because I said this yesterday. Courtney, what's the word? Backed it up because Michaela was like X out, and now it's 2 against 1.
Well, I think it would just be a nice addition. Make it more professional. You walk in here, there's a camera guy.
Yeah, great. That's what I'm saying.
We're not going to be walking in here much longer.
Yeah.
Where are you guys moving to?
My face.
Oh my God! Congratulations, by the way. That's
Thank you.
I now follow you on like 7 different pages.
Yeah, I post on the wrong.
I have no idea, like how much to follow, like share, but I'm really proud of you.
Thank you.
It's a lot. I can't even manage Mints. I love yoga and like Stinks the cat. My cat does have an Instagram. I don't know what the password is. No one's paying attention to it.
Oh
but so kudos to you for having 10.
10. Great. Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Guys, wait, some people like comment?
Yeah, Wayne L. Carter. I don't know who that is.
The memo on
there's Terry Forrest.
Well,
Hi,
Wayne, we got round 2. Round 2 of what is starting right now.
I have no idea how life works.
Yeah, this is Courtney's first live. This is Courtney. We're going to introduce her for real in a second.
Yes.
We're going to have a lot of laughs this morning.
A lot of laughs. And I have a very loud laugh, so I would turn down your phone now. If you're sitting in a cubicle, mute it.
Not going to have to worry about volume quality this morning. All right, so do you want to...
Well, we don't really need to introduce ourselves that much because these are only we don't really have Courtney's...
Oh, all right. Well, let's just tell them about like what's new with us. Go.
Brief intro. Okay, Michaela. What's new with me? So I just got the keys this week for my photo studio and collaborative community workspace, which me and my friend Katie are opening up next month, February 2019. So stay tuned for that. That is very exciting.
Where's the studio going to be located?
1 Washington in Dover. In the
Mill buildings.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I love that place. Okay,
yeah, it's beautiful.
Cool. Yeah.
800 square foot, high ceilings, natural light. We're painting it all white this week, so it is going to be fantastic. We are very excited. that is the biggest piece of news
That's a big deal.
in my life right now.
All right. Hey, guys. Sean Adam, Up and Adam Inspirational Speaking and co-host of Wild Hearts Podcast. What's really exciting for me is a 2-year book project that I was invited to be a part of is coming to fruition in the next couple months. Book is called Guts, Grit, and the Grind, Mental Fitness Manual, and it's designed, there are me plus 36 other men, shared their stories and struggles with mental illness and kind of things that they've used to find balance in their lives and, you know, be able to live a fulfilling life. And the book will be coming out. We're trying to get votes and actually win a publishing deal right now.
That's a big deal.
You can see that on my Instagram. So I'm really excited about that coming out and the impact that hopefully it will have on millions of lives. So.
Amazing.
Can you just tell people your first name real quick?
I did. I said
No,
Sean.
just one more time. Just I want everyone.
No,
Hi, my
does
name's
everybody know
Sean.
his full name?
Okay, here we go. So,
There's a lot of confusion.
Adam.
thank you, Courtney. Yes. So,
I just think that
really slow. One more time.
all right, guys. Yes. So I have set myself
I wish I
up
was
for
there during the decision making.
failure. Apparently,
It's so good.
My
Actually so
my
good.
tag is Atom Bomb, like, you know, like an atom bomb. I thought that was like really creative and playful, but that's my last name.
Oh.
I have 3 first names. My full name is Sean Paul Adam.
Sean.
So if you
That's
guys
cool.
could not call me Adam, that'd be sweet.
Do you know what
You can keep it
I've actually,
happening.
when I first met you, I called you Adam a few times. And then today I went to go tag you in the thing, and I typed in Sean, and of course I couldn't find you because you're under Adam Bomb.
Yeah.
Very
And then
confusing.
I give myself a good 5 minutes on social media, and I'm like, I'm done.
Yeah.
So Michaela got tagged on all 17 of her pages.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. Also,
Sean got a big fat 0 tag.
very confusing for the people.
No, I
Maybe
know.
you should be
it's like-
Sean Adam.
no, honestly, I've met you 5 times, and I think the first time you're like, oh, I introduced myself as Sean, so it was
Yeah.
Sean, and then the next time it was Adam, and then it was Sean, and then it was Adam. So
Yeah.
I'm confused.
I know.
What's going on?
I know. It's
I'm
my
confused.
name.
Who are you?
Wait, maybe you should get a shirt that says, hi, my
name is Sean. That's
Baby. My name is Sean. Yeah,
That is very
That's a
good.
My
great
name
idea.
is Sean, yeah.
I'll get that on my other Wild Heart shirt that I'll wear for 15 days in a row.
I think I should be your intern because Mondays are my day off. I'm going to be
Oh
the
my God,
camera
please.
person.
Yeah,
and I'm
okay.
providing.
Yes.
Sounds great. You
Yeah.
can be like the heat.
You can
in the
remind
background.
everyone.
Well, my whole
names.
thing is, once again, you're just going to hear my laughter in the background.
It'll be great. No, I think it's great. I think honestly, if someone's coming in here and a little bit nervous, you're just going to pow with the energy,
Yeah.
and then they're gonna be like,
Yeah, it's a lot of energy.
here we
All
go.
right.
Poor Michaela was scared. So we're coming back.
Bring it together, everybody. I am in the middle of 2 very high energy
I know.
humans, and I'm very excited about it.
Get the balance.
We
But
should do some energy work and let it go.
No, keep it going.
let's bring the attention to the beautiful person next to me with the very loud laugh.
Oh,
Hi, when did you get here?
that would be me.
Oh, hi. Courtney goes by Courtney.
I go by Courtney.
Those
Those who love me, though, call me Coco.
True.
Yeah.
We were supposed to wrap.
That's okay.
You're gonna
I don't know.
Save it till the end?
Maybe.
All right.
I mean,
Actually,
if you
yeah,
give
that's
me
what
a good
music is
incentive.
at the
Yeah.
end. That's
Okay.
when you're-
Incentive
There
to
might
stay.
be a rap at the end,
There
so
will be.
you should,
By Coco.
stay tuned. By me, apparently.
Yeah.
I asked them to do the Running Man, and that
I
hasn't
don't know the
happened.
Running
I don't even know what that is.
Oh.
I know. See, she's like, wait,
So
what?
oldest person in the room. They referred to me as Betty White earlier, which I'm not taking.
That's a
it
compliment. That's a
That was
compliment.
a major compliment. However, these 2 youngins don't know what the Running Man is, so if
Yeah.
anybody could type this on the screen, I don't know how this thing
Share.
works.
Yeah.
Share. Okay. Let's tell the people who you are.
Okay.
So, I was going to introduce you, but
Yes, I love that.
no. Okay.
So
So,
who am I to you?
Ooh,
Oh.
wow, that just got hard.
which is like
Crying.
a lot.
I'm
Courtney
just gonna
makes
sit
me
back.
cry a lot. So,
In a good way.
in a good way. Yeah.
And
No.
more coffee's ready.
Courtney is the owner of Mint Boutique, one of the best little clothing boutiques in downtown Portsmouth. And not just because of all the beautiful clothing, but
Does help though.
it does help. But no, Courtney is you're one of the first people that I met on the Seacoast community, and I have met so many of my closest and dearest friends and had so many incredible opportunities because of knowing you. You were just this light that brings all of women especially together into just such a beautiful place where we can all
Thank you.
love and respect and grow and build with one another.
Oh.
And you do all of that and so much more with a clothing store. And I'm so excited to share your story with everybody
You are gonna
listening
make me cry.
because it is very inspiring. You are very inspiring, and this community would not be what it is without you. I can truly say that.
Thank you. Thank you. And trust me, I wouldn't be who I am without the community. So it certainly, it works both ways.
It does.
Which is beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, introduce yourself. Tell the people a little bit about your story.
So my story. Okay.
Yeah,
my name is Courtney. I grew up in the Seacoast. I was actually born in Portsmouth, raised in Newport, and I came back here when I was. Do I look at you? Do I look at the kid? I'm
wherever you want to feel.
Yeah,
just go back anymore.
It's like it's like a round circle.
Yeah. Okay.
Look everywhere.
Yeah, and so I came back here when I was about 24. And I've lived here now for a decade. But I opened Mint in spring of 2017. It was always, a dream of mine. I've loved the fashion world for a while, but it was exactly what you said. I like to hone in on the next step, like what that can mean, what that can bring to the community. And it wasn't just shopping. It was kind of a safe place for people to come and enjoy themselves. You walk into my doors, it's not like, bye, look. It's like, how are you? How's your day? It's a place where a lot of people come in just to say hi, which fills my day, because sometimes I'm sitting there, especially on these cold, January, February, March days, and I'm like organizing the racks, dusting the shelves, and then my favorite people walk in, and it's really wonderful to connect. We always bounce ideas off one another as far as, what can we do next month? And we stay tuned. We're going to announce all of our fun events coming up.
Yes.
But, back to kind of my story. I was raised by a single mom, and that certainly transpired on me because of her strength in raising 3 girls by herself. I did lose her tragically when I was 22 in a car accident, and that was an interesting turning point because it was like fight or flight. You pull your boots up and what do you want to do? And I had mentioned this in kind of our little questionnaire. There was no more time for me to be a kid and figure it out. It was like my adolescents were over, and what did I want to be? And I had to grow up really fast. I'm ironically kind of taking my 30s, and because I have, my support system being my husband and my beautiful stores in place, and I have this great community of women and men in my life, I'm able to kind of sit back and like enjoy life a bit more. But my 20s was just really about hustling. I went back to school. It was like I became a medical esthetician. I became a yoga instructor, but it was always this underlining of, I love the fashion world. I love that connection of people. I love making people feel great. I mean, we've all walked into a store, men and women, and tried on something that made us look great, or had a conversation with the salesperson. And it's just like, that stuff, as cheesy as it sounds, can change your day. Retail therapy is a thing, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And I know sometimes it can cost more than like the other therapies, but more than once a week I hear like, oh my God, retail therapy with the bag, walking out the door, and I'm like, 2 thumbs up, because it's the real deal.
Yeah.
It's kind of neat that you can read all these things.
So I just want to stop you because I think it's pretty influential on your friend Stephanie from L+1.
Oh, says, hi Stephanie!
Where people find new best friends.
This is okay. So Stephanie, a little story about her, which I just like Michaela. We met in MySpace. She was one of my first guests. She came in. I had gotten like this huge box of cupcakes and cashmere, which was one of my big brands. And Stephanie, being Stephanie, I was like, "Can you model like all of these clothes?" And she was like, "Okay." And I was like. It was like one of those, did we just become best friends? Which we did. She was in my wedding party. I mean, I don't know what my world would be like without Stephanie.
I met her at your store.
Yeah.
You've only known her for like a year, right? Like a little over a year.
A little, yeah. I mean, truthfully, so it'll be 2 years in April that I've had my store. So yeah, I met her in May 2017.
That's so cool.
Wow. Also, it's 2019, which always gets me.
Throws me for like,
yeah. It's like January 74th, and I'm like, this is just really going on.
Honestly, it's flying.
But yeah, I mean, my story. I know I keep going back to it. I trail a lot, people. So it's my ADD.
It's okay. I'm sure millions of people can relate to that.
Yeah. But yeah, so I mean, I'm doing what I love, and every day I walk into that space, and it's this, like it's that moment that I'm like, yep, you did it, and it wasn't always easy. I didn't always know what I was doing. I've never owned a business. I don't have a business partner. I don't have, a financial advisor even. Heck, I don't even have a business degree.
Yeah.
I just was like, these are the things you love. This is what you're passionate about, and dig deep, and follow your heart, and and Sean was saying earlier, and I can't wait to read your book, but that like grit, that's going to get you anywhere. If you really believe in yourself and you really believe in a vision, you're going to conquer it. You're going to jump over the mountains. You're going to dig through the trenches. You're going to do it. And that's like my big mission to anybody. Say yes to yourself and do it. Don't rely on, your friend because they're doing it and they look beautiful on Instagram, or your other friend who tried and she's failed. Now just say yes to you. Make your plan, make your action, have a goal, and just, chip away. You cannot eat an elephant in one bite. That was the biggest thing I've ever learned years ago. My mother said it to me. She's like, you want to do something, write down the steps and just check them off. You get as much adrenaline, or serotonin released as checking off a box as you do
Where are we going
with an orgasm.
All right, people.
This is true.
No, I honestly, so that ever since I started working, so when I used to landscape, we would have 12 lawns we had to mow. Nothing more satisfying than checking that lawn. I was like, yes!
I love it.
Woo!
Yeah.
But I think I wanted to touch on a couple things here. So I love what you talk about that grit and just getting in the trenches, because even for myself, this is my third business attempt. I've tried the whole 9-to-5, and for me personally, it always gets to the same point of a year and a half where it's really kind of the same routine every day. There's not a whole lot of creativity, and I would just kind of feel empty inside. And so I just have kind of had that belief that there's more and that I'm meant for more, and this is my path, and you just keep going, you know. And I think each time, I had my first business when I was 23, and it technically failed, and it crushed me at the time, but each experience has made me stronger for each endeavor. And now that I've been here, obviously there's been some struggles and finances and all that stuff, but it's I know that I can get through it, because of those past experiences, and each one will build on it. So I think that that's a really important message. And I also wanted to talk more about just kind of your mother's death, if you don't mind, because in your thing, I really like how you talk about it made you grow up, but then you talk about this woman you became because of that experience. Can you kind of just touch on maybe that transition of obviously being scared, hey, I got to just pull my boots up, to now I honor the woman I've become because of this experience. It made you tougher, and life gives you never know what life's going to throw at you, but you always have a choice of how you react to it.
Life will never give you anything you can't handle. And that for me, are we allowed to swear? That was bullshit.
Yes.
When my mom died, I was like, you've got to be kidding with me. I grew up in a world where divorce was very rare. And my parents were divorced, before I entered elementary school. And so then I have this woman who, when we went to the movies every Tuesday, she was my best friend. We actually look very similar, which kind of freaks some of my family members out. But for me, it's that's so beautiful. And so when she passed away, I'm like, you what? How could you, how could you do that to me? And I became mad. But sometimes when you become mad, you almost create this fake personality. And I was just overly happy-go-lucky. I was overly extroverted and involved in everything. I wanted to help you and do this and do that because I wasn't ready to look within. And I wasn't ready to look within for a good amount. I bet it was 3.5 years. And truthfully, I had moved to Portsmouth, and I was at the Bagel Caboose, which is, it's this little bagel place.
Yeah.
Okay, the best. And I look up, and there was this sign for yoga in York. And I remember saying to myself, I really want to meet new people in the community, and I don't want to do it on a bar stool. I don't want to go in and be intoxicated, or that classic, oh, what's your name? And you just, these pointless relationships. I wanted to kind of reconnect with myself and meet people in the yoga world. So I started practicing there, and then I got introduced to Sarah Curry from Bikram Yoga in Portsmouth, now Blaze. You must go check it out. It's amazing. And Sarah Curry, she changed my life, her and her husband, Jalen, in a weird way, and they don't even realize it, I bet. They took me under their wing. And I started to hate myself less, which is really wild, because if you met me, no one would say Courtney, negative, Courtney, I started saying my mother's death, it had to happen. It had to happen because it gave me the strength to finally say yes to myself. It had to happen because that independence that I gained, overnight, if you will, I don't know if it would have happened. I don't know if I would have allowed myself to take these risks knowing that because I almost had to take care of her. I was the baby, and we became more like friends and mother and daughter. And I don't know if I would have been like ballsy enough to go and do it. And I've had a lot of times where if something popped up, I went and did it, right after high school, I was like, I want to become a medical esthetician. I went and did it. I wanted to become a yoga instructor. I went to Capella and did it. Do I teach yoga currently? No, but but those little things that you say yes to yourself, just like those jobs that now you look back and you're like, oh, they failed, but they made you who you are. You're sitting here because of them, and you learn so much for those I did it moments.
Yeah.
And I talk to my mom every day. I know she's really proud of me, but it was really kind of that kicking out of the nest that had to happen. But it's still sad. I get bummed out. I walk myself down the aisle at my own wedding,
Gorgeously.
And Michaela was my photographer, so
Beautifully.
it was really nice. And you know what? My relationship with my husband's mom is really strong. I think because of that.
Cool.
I see a lot of my mom in her.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
That's
and
cool.
and I allow myself to get extra close. And I allow myself to get extra close with people because it's okay. It's okay to be in someplace personal space. It's okay to say I love you guys, because you don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. You don't know what's going to happen in an hour. And that was the thing. It wasn't cancer, which is so sad. It was my mom's birthday, and we cheersed, and then she got in the car and she died, and that's sad. There's no other word for that.
Yeah.
But and a lot of people don't know my story, so I'm kind of I feel really strong right now sharing this.
Good for you. Yeah.
And typically I'm a crier. I don't know, Michaela.
You're holding it back here. I can see that you're holding it back. She's being strong right now.
But yeah, so it's cool because I think that that point in my life as pivotal and as gut-wrenching as it was, I wouldn't be the woman I am today without that.
Yeah.
So, and it's cool. It's nice.
I think it's really neat too. Sean picked up on this earlier that you seem like you're very proud of your story and sharing the struggles. Would you say that's true?
Yeah, I think the struggles are the most important part.
Yeah.
The struggles are that weaving into those blocks, that's.
Well, I mean, it's you told. Well, I think something that touched my heart when I came and dropped your shirt off was that you were like, you guys have the courage to ask me that. I'm like, thank you, and I could tell you were finally someone asked me about the real stuff, because it's if someone just helicopter drops you at the top of the mountain, yeah, that's cool, but you didn't have to struggle to get up there.
Yeah.
So it's not as worthwhile. And I mean, I think the other thing I wanted to it's amazing how the struggles make you, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And it's just I just love hearing that. I was caught in my truck reading your thing last night. I just couldn't leave it alone because
beautiful writer.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you. I do. I secretly love writing.
Okay, so she's gonna be coming out with a book in the future. But it's this is why we do this. I think I love hearing the real stuff, the stories. It's what makes you who you are. Yeah. And I think we forget sometimes. I think for the longest time, you say that you needed that experience to give you the cojones or the whatever. Betty White would say the vagina to do it, whatever. Anyway.
Early conversation.
Yeah.
Not relevant if you weren't here.
Everyone knows that quote. But I think it's for me, mental illness is exactly what I needed to grow the fuck up and show me that I did have the power to change my life. And I think we oftentimes forget because life experience, life throws stuff at you. It seems unfair. You're pissed. You're what the hell? But if you can, and it's hindsight's always 20/20. But if you have the ability to look at it from a higher perspective and be realize literally, guys, everything that happens in your life is happening for you. It's to help you grow. It's to help you learn a lesson to get you that next level. And any one of you in here, look back on your life, and if you just really sometimes think about oh well, this happened and. Wow, and then that led to this, and this led to this, but then I met that person, and what if I didn't go to coffee that morning? It's amazing how it all intertwines, and I think that's even been for me. It's just kind of yeah, I still get stressed, ask her for fun, it's crazy, but if you can just let go and trust it, you know what I mean? It's amazing where it'll take you.
Well, and lean into it too, and ask, fear or anxiety, or it's showing up for a reason. Fear is an emotion that a lot like saves our life, right? Like if you're not afraid, like you're not aware of what, so it's like leaning into it, like breathing into those things and like asking fear, asking anxiety, or asking sadness, like why are you here and what are you trying to teach me? And typically like in those moments you can ask and you can listen to what it's trying to tell you too, which I think is so beautiful.
You have to be willing to listen too.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you have to be willing to, because sometimes, I mean, gosh, even in relationships, I see a lot of it. We're surrounded by these perfect worlds and these perfect images. I mean, you know, every once in a while, someone will put like a post up where they're crying and they're like, my toddler's, you know, like vomiting in the next room behind me, and the laundry's overdoing it, and my husband and I just got into a fight, you know, like you get that, but you don't do that all the time. You know, you don't talk about like these real struggles and these vulnerable moments all the time. And I mean, we portray this perfectness because it's so available to us. We have a lull in our lives, and I mean, I'll admit, the first thing I do, I'll grab my phone and I'll go on Instagram. We're literally looking at reels of just like, oh, I'm out to dinner, look at how cute my martini is, look at how fun my food is, look at my cute boyfriend, my dog, and you're just like overwhelmed. And mind you, then you're sitting there not doing anything, and you're like, damn, my life sucks. You know, it's like, it's wild, this comparison game. I mean, I don't know, I kind of veered there, but
it's okay. No, it's great because
no, I was just gonna say, like, I think that's such a good point, and I think we're all very aware of it, but I think we don't recognize that social media and your Instagram stories, etc., whatever it is, that's an open invitation to share your real shitty life too. Like, be okay with that. Like, you don't need to just take 17 selfies and post the one where you look fucking awesome. Like, post the shit when you're crying, or like when you had a bad day. Like, share it with the rest of the world so that the rest of the world is aware that they're not alone in whatever shit they're going through too. Like, we are all so much stronger together, and when we share like the shit times too, then that's what brings us all closer, I think. And we're totally going on a tangent. But
no, but I want to touch on this too, though, because
I mean,
listen,
it's social media's job, but exactly, it is important.
Listen, guys, we all have the power to create our life. Gandhi said it best, like, be the change you want to be. And I just remember my Instagram feed would be like when I was depressed, we'd be like, oh, here's all the like skydiving and like cool shit I'm doing, and then I'd disappear for 6 months because my life was anything but a highlight reel. And then I'd be like, oh, I'm doing cool shit again. And I was like, all right, this is what I hate about Instagram, but I'm perpetuating it. So like, how can we change this? And then I started being like, all right, well, this morning I woke up with paralyzing anxiety and was freaking out and blah, 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 you know? And it's just like,
tell people.
Like, I want it to be real. I mean, especially for me going through mental illness, and I know a lot of people, and I've been blessed in my life to like see so many different spectrums of the human being. And I think it's like, why is it a stigma? Why is there something wrong with you? Like, I want to challenge that belief and say like, well, actually, no, maybe you have like all these capabilities, and we just need to teach you how to hone them. Because in my opinion, that's what I've done. Like, I was depressed, I was bipolar, I was ADHD, all these different things. But now I like utilize, and I'm not saying I'm perfect. Like she said, sometimes I'm a ball of stress and you feel it a mile away. But that's part of being human. Like,
being perfect is exhausting. Nobody wants to be perfect.
Well, it's free. You give yourself freedom when you're just like, dude, I'm
this is me.
Fucking nutcase. French toast nutcase. Sorry, Grandma.
Oh, I like that, French toast.
What the French toast? Typically,
you
come
had a little conversation about.
Yeah, Grandma. Sorry.
Sorry,
Sandra.
Does Grandma watch this?
My grandma's.
Yeah.
Oh, amazing. That's adorable.
My aunt's probably proud of me because she's like, actually, that's her right there. So, Aunt Maureen, I know you're watching.
Hi, Maureen.
This is Courtney, and I feel like she's a replica of you. So
yes, he said that earlier.
Oh, he did.
One day, I hope you
really
guys
cool.
meet. I want you guys meet. She's high energy, just
I
like
keep it pretty high energy. They won't say it like that.
Yeah, I like it though. Well, she's like.
I was like, "Do you have any coffee?" They're like, "Really? That's what you want? Okay.
All right. How about some horse tranquilizers?
Hey, throw one of those in too. Let's get a party.
See what happens.
All
right.
It's Monday.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So something that like I'm interested to talk about is because you've always like your first kind of like jobs were in retail, right?
Yeah.
Fashion?
Yeah.
Kind of?
Like one of my first jobs, I have always, like, I was one of those little girls who the night before school, I would put out my outfit for the next day. Like, I just think, I don't know, there's something, my mom was an artist. So, and she could draw and paint, and she had that creative, out that I didn't really get. I'm great on like a chalkboard, but I could by no means. And so that for me was kind of like my art. It was really neat to almost like portray your personality and like showcase kind of your spunk and your energy. And I lived in Newburyport, and there was like a little Marshall's behind us or around the corner, and my mom's like, I will buy you a bicycle and you can start a paper route. And if you're, you get developed your paper route and you understand hard work and dedication, I will bring you to Marshall's where you can apply to work. And I was like, oh my God, like that's so cool. It was really funny, and I like couldn't wait. I was like, oh my God, I'm gonna like merchandise that place. I'm gonna be the boss. I'm gonna run Marshalls. I was like 14. My mom had a sign for me to like work there. Oh my God. And yeah, I was really excited. But it became more like guest services. And I think in the retail world, that is one of, I'm just going to say it. I mean, we've all walked into stores where someone's like, looks up from their little Facebook and they're like, hey, welcome, what's up? And you're like, am I disturbing you?
It's true. No, I noticed this at an antique shop the other day. The ladies were just like sitting on their, like didn't even look up to say hi. I was like, what? Oh yeah,
I have a problem where when guests walk in, I have to like, Courtney, like don't jump on them, because I'm like, hey, how are you? How are the kids? You still loving those new shoes? And it's just like too much. But I love guest services, and I think that's never too much. I think that's what makes Mint so fun is because I've met like so many dear friends now just from walking in my door, and because it's a lost art, just truly caring. And it's not like I said, I'm not like, oh, you need to buy this. I'm like, yeah, that looks cute, or it doesn't. Like, I'm honest. But I have confidence in what I offer. So it's really about like checking in with the guest. How was your day? Where are you going? Tell me about the party. Can I come? Can I?
This is amazing though, because you're touching on like a really valid business point too, because I think so. I do a lot of networking, and what I've found is like, there's different ways people handle it, but a lot of people are like, oh, like, hi, how are you? So this is my business, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, okay, I'm not doing business with you. That's really annoying. But there's a difference when like I feel like I've been doing this just because maybe it's who I am, but it's like, hey, who are you? Like, what's your deepest fears? Like, what are your dreams? Like, yeah, I mean, if you want to like do business, cool, but like, who are you as a human being?
Yeah.
And like, like you said, there's such an element to like, who are you as a person? Like, yeah, I'm like confident in my business. Like, if you want to do that, that's cool. But like, you can just tell you're like love people. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
and that,
I like
people
love,
feel that.
Love people. Yeah, I know. I was little when my mom told me, she's like, you can't collect friends, and I was like, what?
Why should we collect friends?
I was like, I don't feel like it's like a collection of friends, but.
Well, so you said something about like retail. It was like therapy or
and it
people come in
is
for two reasons.
Escape for some, therapeutic for others.
Yep, escape for some. You kind of have that, it can be kind of a fantasy world, depending on where you're shopping. But you can walk in and it's kind of like that playing dress up. I don't know. I mean, I feel like I don't really know my audience here, but I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I played dress up as a kid, and I mean, a lot. Dressing up my Barbies was like end all be all for me. And so yeah, I think that's kind of that moment where they can have a tough day and they can come in and just kind of try on something and feel good. And it's not even, it's kind of like escape, that moment to themselves. And then other times, it can be a therapy. I hate to say that because it's like, oh, you buy something, it's tangible, and that means it's like you feel good. Yeah. Sometimes you do. Yeah. Sometimes you have on a new shirt. Like, I'm rocking my new shirt today, and I feel very cool about it.
Yeah, very cool looking.
But I mean, that can be, what it is for some people. But I just loved that element of happiness, that you don't go into a store or a boutique and expect to leave mad or expect to have this like negative experience. You go in and you're like, I'm here and I'm treating myself, and and I like to be part of that experience. When someone walks in my door, it's an opportunity to complete whatever it is they're looking for. To really just make that time with them the best. I get mad that there's not like 17 of them. That like every person, if it's busy, could have a little bit of energy boost. Just so I don't know.
So I have a question. Have you ever thought about putting a sign, "Welcome to Narnia"?
Oh, okay. So it's funny you say that. So back to my cat.
Oh God! Oh God!
So we all call him Stink. is, and it's not because he stinks. He's actually like, he smells like an angel baby from heaven. And we'll get to that. But his real name is Aslan. From the line, he was named after the lion, the Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe.
Oh my God, that's
Oh.
amazing!
Yeah,
Look at that.
yeah,
That's so
there you
cool.
go. I know. Oh, he's so cute. He's my little lion.
Oh, like, he's my little lion.
I asked if he wanted to come here today, but he would rather sleep.
He said he would.
Yeah.
That's good.
At least
That's
you gave him
fine. That's
options.
good
You
to
gave him
know.
options. Game options, you know, at least you had the choice.
Can you
You did
imagine?
have to
I
choose.
walk in with a cat.
That'd
You
be
guys
so-
look like.
I'd be really distracted though. I'd be like, "Hi."
Yeah, that would
Oh, yeah, that's-
I think our
That would not be-
entire, audience here would be distracted if
Yeah.
it was just like.
Yeah, just
Weird
like trying
order
to
around
yeah,
us.
like,
like
And
staring at the
he
wall.
does say I love you. I mean,
That's
I don't
so
know if you
funny.
guys-
That's
there's
so
art.
funny.
so good.
Oh, I love you. Oh my
Great
God.
questions.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, so far.
Actually, I feel like, sorry, real
No,
quick,
no.
just because while you're on the topic of like, I don't know my audience, and you're like, I used to dress up with Barbies.
Yes.
I have a really funny, embarrassing story that I told you. So I had a babysitter, and she had 2 daughters when I was a young child. And this babysitter's daughter had 2 lady friends, and we all used to like hang out. And I just remember this one time where I got tackled to the ground. They pinned down my elbows, and they dressed me like a girl, and were
Oh.
painting makeup on my face. And there was
That's
nothing
nice.
I could do about it.
This is
I bet
one
you
of-
looked great though.
Yeah.
You have good hair.
I mean,
Good
now I
hair.
didn't have long hair. but-
Did you cut? I saw like, is it shaved a little bit up top? And
Yeah.
then,
All right, let's do it.
Oh, what's happening
I
here?
was-
You did not want us to take that hat off.
Hey.
instantly you're regretting.
God, instant regret.
Oh,
Actually, no, not a regret.
I see it. Okay, so it's like an undershave.
Let's
Yeah.
pull this together.
I mean, so okay, so let's just.
So
talk
now
about
I
the
grew up
hair.
in the generation. You guys were probably like 3 years old when the undershave was like first happening, and I was in
Really?
middle school. Yeah, and that was like a thing, and only like the tough people, like the tough girls, would do the undershave.
Okay.
Like you knew you were BA if you had.
You were inspired by what's
Well,
his
guys,
name,
I'm a
right?
yeah. So my complete inspiration for my hair was Tyler Hubbard, Florida Georgia Line. I absolutely love him and his wife, and
Okay.
Brian Kelly and Brittany Kelly as well. So I've kind of like
Maybe
followed.
they're watching.
I mean, you never know. That's why I give him a shout out. You never know.
Georgia
You
Line.
never know. FGL.
Woo!
I actually planned an entire vacation
Pull
on that.
myself together.
But T Hub had the like long hair.
Yeah.
This is
My boy.
amazing.
I'm gonna hang out with him one of these
Okay.
days. I'm telling you, that's like a dream.
You
of
are
mine.
these podcasts.
He's the man.
Nickname level.
Actually, I'm gonna just give him so he caught he
This
was
is actually the Sean Adam podcast.
no, real quick,
Yeah,
this is
Sean's
amazing.
story.
He caught a fish with like a drone, and he hooked up a lure and was running along the thing and caught a 5-pound bass. So that's
Wow.
random, but
What?
that's so
This
cool.
is a singer?
And how can you relate to that, Courtney?
I don't fish. I'm really scared about the hook in the mouth.
Me too.
I just can't. I can't fish.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No.
it's cool.
So I relate zero to that
Zero to that.
story.
But no,
I think drones are fun.
yeah, I mean, I followed his hair journey, and then he cut it and shaved it, and I did it. But
I
I'm kind
forgot
of
what
regret
you're
it.
talking
Yeah, I know.
about.
Well, I just wanted to say that I regret it because now, like, the whole point of having long hair was like I don't have to get haircuts, and now I have to
Okay.
get them every month. So I'm like,
So you don't do the undershave yourself?
No.
Okay.
no, because I have them do the beard up. Like I try and keep it fresh. You know what I mean?
Have you checked out the new place in Portsmouth?
Groomsmith, yeah, I just went there.
Groomsmith. Okay, wait, where's that?
It's right across from Evolve, which is opening
Oh.
on February 1st.
No,
You just went there,
I went
right?
to Evolve.
Yeah, I want to go.
Oh, it's open?
I went on Saturday. I did a booty yoga class
Yeah.
with Lee. Guys, so
Shout out.
donation classes, I think they start there Friday, Saturday, Sunday. You can go on their page, Evolve Movement, and click on the little link in their bio. I want a t-shirt that
Heck yeah.
says link in the bio. I think it's just like, it's such a funny term, like, oh, the link's in the bio. Sorry, I don't have time to like fully explain
Links
it. Links in the bio.
I could use one of those too.
Yeah.
I could really
Yeah,
use
you
one
need
of
to put
those.
all your links on the bio.
So yeah, just click on their link, and you can donate to their class. They have like a whole, schedule booked.
Yeah, it
and
looks
they're working on-
awesome.
Yeah, I'll probably hit up a Friday class because I have to work Saturday if you're around.
Yeah, let's go.
Yep. Studio space, it's 33 Deer Street. The woman who owns it, Jackie, she is just a wonderful human, inside and out. She actually shared a bit of her story with me. on Saturday morning when I went to yoga class, and kind of like how she evolved and how the name came to fruition. Do you see that? I just tied that right back in.
That was really good.
Someone from Evolve is watching.
I know. They're going to be like, so we didn't pay her for any of this? I don't know. I get really excited when a new studio opens.
Well, so this is very you, actually. Like, you are, like, the first, you and Chris are always like the first ones at, like, the new restaurant opening. Like,
well, we like to
always,
eat a lot.
But you're always just out supporting the community as best you can. And I think a huge part of that, too, comes back to, like, you having events at your stores. So, like, talk about, like, that.
I would have an event
starting your, like, having that as part of, like, your business
model platform.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'll be honest. So I was doing some retail marketing for Lululemon in Portsmouth, while I knew I was going to open up Mint, but I wanted to dip my toes back into the retail world. I was making good money working as a bartender at Street, and so it was nice that I was able to do both jobs, and it really filled my like Gemini spirit. But Lululemon, their big thing was community classes, and they would choose a new studio every month, and then on Saturday mornings you would go to the class. It was free for guests, and then we would do an hour-long class. And I took that same model when I opened Mint, and we now do Sweat and Sips. And so every month I choose a new studio. I take care, it's a complimentary class to guests. I take care of it. I work that out with the studio. We don't do it every week. We just do one a month because it can get a little hectic. Retail world, it's, Saturdays are busy days. So we do them on Sundays, and then we come back to the shop after the class. We shop. I do serve mimosas, but it's not like an alcoholic event. I don't drink, so come and have some soda water. I don't want to like push anybody out who doesn't drink. It's just called a Sweat and Sip because it's cheeky, and I'm a major fan of alliterations. My now name is Courtney Conant, which I'm pretty sure I chose my husband because I'm like, I need an alliteration in my life. He's Chris Conant. We're just
you guys are nailing it.
But yeah, so we do a Sweat and Sip every month. In this month for February, is going to be Evolve. So that's on the 17th. It's actually, I'm doing a double whammy event at Mint Boutique, because on the 17th morning we have Evolve, and then in the evening we have our vulnerability workshop. That link is also in the bio.
Link in bio. That one's definitely in my bio.
It's in my personal bio.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah, perfect. So that's because we're doing Valentine's Day.
Yeah, we have 2 events.
Which is it's major event city. February, I know.
Yeah.
This is awesome.
Shortest event means the most. Shortest month means most events.
Yeah, February 13th and 17th.
Yes. Valentine's Day with Mellow Botanical. Liz
Flower
Davis
crowns.
is just. She's another one that we all know.
Bio.
Link in bio. Maybe that's what it should be on the back of these shirts.
Maybe.
Well, yours should still say Adam, Sean, Chris, Paul, David, your whole name.
Pick my name.
Pick my name.
What do you want to call me today?
Yeah, whatever you want.
I think it's a solid name.
Yeah. But yeah, I think that's something that makes you so unique to any other store or boutique in town.
I think because community for Mint is really that like underlying foundation, because I'm one of those people who truly believe in community over competition. There's a million boutiques you can shop at, in the Portsmouth area, and they're all beautiful.
Yeah.
But the best part is they all complement each other. It's not, this one's the best one and everybody else is down here. It's like, we share the love, and it's like, I don't have that, but guess who may? And I'm a big believer in, if I close and the one across the street closes and the one down the road, then no one's going to stay open. No one's going to come to Mint to shop. No one's going to, come to Portsmouth to shop. It's like, we have to thrive off of one another, and we have to support one another. And I see no problem in being like, who has amazing sweaters? ... Because I might not have what the guest is looking for, or maybe it's somebody who's not quite my demographic, and I'm okay to admit that. You're not going to, if you start to think that you're going to do it all, and then you're not going to do anything.
Yeah.
You have to hone in on what you're good at and make that the best. And slowly but surely, you're going to be able to do a multitude of things.
Yeah.
But I don't want to spread myself thin, and then someone walks in and I'm so pooped that I'm like, hey, what up? They're going to be like, what happened to that Courtney on that podcast Monday morning who's drinking out of her wolf mug with all the energy?
Yeah. No, it's so true.
I love that.
So, but yeah.
Well, I think that's also important in business too, is what I've learned is an element of building relationships is trust. And if you come in and like you said, try and do everything and like it's not of high quality, like people like don't trust you. But if you're like, if you can just be honest and confident in what you do offer and say like, hey, listen, because I feel like I call these people connectors, where you're like, you know what, I don't have that sweater, but this awesome place on the street. Like that person seemed to be like, damn.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Damn. Like that's awesome. And it's like this like community support. And I mean, Miles talked about it last week, like the transition in his mind from competition to collaboration.
Yes.
And like we live in an abundant world. Like
yes.
we've been fed this message of like you have to chop someone else's legs off to succeed. And it's like I have changed that paradigm in my own mind, and it has been like I've watched like I'm watching the community around us, like all this collaboration. And it's like it's so amazing what's being created, and it's just you build trust that way.
Yes.
And I think it's really important.
And I must say, for me, and I mentioned this a little bit in our conversation, our questionnaire, it's lovely to see that in the women's world. We are no longer, pointing a gun at each other's back, stabbing each other in the back when they turn around. It's kind of like a "you are beautiful" moment. And I love that. I love being like, God, you look gorgeous today. That doesn't mean it takes away from me in any way. No. It doesn't it's so nice to have that like camaraderie with women nowadays where we want to see each other succeed. Mm-hmm. Watching Michaela grow her businesses, and Liz, and my girlfriend Jessica Asnora. I hope she's here too, because she's one of my favorite.
She's
in there.
Talk about an influencer.
Like
that's why I refer to her all the time as the Portsmouth influencer. I just love her. Yeah. But like Stephanie and like a lot of my girlfriends, and you're kind of like, you are who you hang out with. And I remember looking at just my like bridal squad, and I was like, damn, if that's who I am, I'm a badass. Because the women in Portsmouth, and I'm only saying Portsmouth because I kind of live in a box, and I'm sorry for that. It's just
don't
I came to Dover today, and I was like, damn.
You're like, Dover, whoa.
Wait, my ETA is like 25 minutes. But we just really are amazing women, and there's so many women businesses. Off Peace to Oomph Salon. It's endless, the amount. And I love watching one another pat each other on the back and being like, hey, what can I do for you? Yeah. How is growth? How is business? And when someone asks you a question like that, people always ask me, how's business? And I remember learning in business school, you always want to say great. You always want to say, oh, business is wonderful. Business is wonderful. And I was like, well, is that like a lie? And they're like, oh, no, it's more like if they think your business is great, they won't kind of attack you, or they won't dig deeper, or they might step back and I'm thinking, no, I don't want to. I want to be honest. Yeah. Business right now, let's be real, guys. It's 20 degrees outside. It's cold. Mm-hmm. But that's not necessarily the point of this podcast. But it's that honesty and that just rawness that you have to be within yourself and with your peers. You have to. It's hard work, and in the whole how did you get started, or I want to do this, and how do you have to work your tail off. Yeah. And there's gonna be tears. There's gonna be moments when you 100% doubt yourself, and you're like, what am I doing? But that's when you dig deep. It reminds me of a little girl in Knocked Up, and she's like, can you dig? Can you dig? With the baby.
Here we go with movies again. I'm not good with them. Not good.
Somebody out there knows what I'm talking about. But yeah, digging. That's that's your classic, entrepreneur, phrase, dig deep. But it's so true, because that's when the greatness happens. Mm-hmm. That's when the changes happen. That's when, after you get through, and us as New Englanders, you get through these hard, long winters, that all these ideas have sprouted, and you see your business grow that little bit more because of that time that you dug deep, and you were creative, and you had these events, and you inspired others, and all of a sudden you have new people walking into your building because you had a flower crown event. Amazing, so yeah.
I think that's amazing too, because I love this element of dig deep, because in your questionnaire that you filled out, you kind of talked about as you started, I think you said you started with $300, and then you were working at were you working at State Street Saloon, and then you were Street. Okay, you were working at Street, and then you were a marketer and something. I
was working at Lululemon as well, and I was finishing up school. Yeah.
So talk about that, because I think I've been a little unorthodox, and I quit everything and started a business, which I'm not going to suggest, but oftentimes you're doing a bazillion things in the beginning, and you're working like when they talk about entrepreneurs or really anything, any dream you're making, like it's the person that's willing to work 80 hours a week to get it going. And I think sometimes that's what personally, like my experience is kind of what it takes. You know?
Yeah.
So kind of just talk about that balance of doing like all these different things and like trying to open the shop and just kind of the grit and digging deep. Like,
well, I want to first kind of start the story by saying, and I'm not saying I needed a man, but with the support of my husband, that's how
Chris watching?
I don't know. I feel like Chris is he's probably working.
Chris is probably working.
Yeah,
He might tease me. He's like, really? Monday's off? And I'm like, oh, well.
We love you, Chris. You see this.
We love him. So he's going to watch it later, he promised.
Yes.
But, you know, he kind of, we were walking a dog, and it was those moments that I was kind of like, what am I doing? You're going to school for marketing. For what? You're not. I know you, Court. You're not going to sit in a cubicle. You are bartending a street, and I was bartending. I love that interface with guests. I love that high energy. I was around food and cocktails. I like consider myself a mixologist. Awesome. And then you had Lululemon, where I was doing, you know, they call it like an educating role. So you educate people on the garments, which in turn is a bit of marketing. So I was able to apply my education to that. But that also had that big tie with my health and yoga and my passion for retail. And so I was doing all these things that I really loved, but I wasn't fulfilled. And so we were walking the dog, and, you know, he was kind of like, what do you want to do? Like, what do you want to do when you're done with school? And I'm like, I actually want to open up my own clothing boutique. Like, it was just like, boom, 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 like everything. And he's like, okay, well, what do we have to do that? And I'm like, let's just go home. Let's figure it out. And we got the LLC. And then all of a sudden I felt very like committed to it. I was like, okay, like there's no turning back. So, you know, I was in business school, like I said, so I was able to like really nail down an awesome business plan. You know, you have to do like SWOT analysis, the market analysis, you know, all that stuff, financial, you know, and I had $300 to my name with school debt. And you know, that's a scary thing, but don't let that be the thing that stops you. Because money's gonna come, and no one cared. I remember when I opened up my store, and all I could afford was like 3 shipments of clothes. My racks had hand spaces between the garments. Now it's like, you know, finger spacing. But that's all I could do, you know. And slowly but surely, it was like the first month happened. I got myself a rug. I got myself a mirror, you know, like little slowly but surely. And because it was just like, people get it, you know. You're not coming in here with a huge financial backer. You're not coming in here out of the blue. You are a community member, and people have seen you work your butt off in these positions, and now you're following your dream. You're gonna support that, you know. And it actually made it very real to a lot of people, and I think that's what really like made it work for me and made me successful in a sense, because I was real. I was, you know, I was the person, exactly. I was the person that you sit on a couch with and to have coffee with. And it wasn't like I was pulling money out of, you know, this mysterious bank account. I was working really hard, and I was just saying yes. And, you know, at times it was kind of embarrassing, because I did see my competitors, and they were able to like bring in these cashmeres, or, you know, their aesthetic of their store was so lovely. But that's okay. You're gonna get there. You know, like Court, we were just featured as, you know, best of for the Seacoast. That was such an honor. I'm not even 2 years old. So I mean, that, you know, like little things like that. And I think that's because of, you know, who I am with my guests, and the fact that I'm not going to tell you that it wasn't really hard. I'm not going to tell you that I make a ton of money. I don't. But guess what? I make a ton of friends. Connections, you know, memorable moments.
You change people's lives, girl.
Like, just so that's really cool. For me, I mean, I knew I wasn't like gonna go save lives, you know. But I knew that.
Honestly, you do change people's lives, like truly, Courtney.
It's nice. It's nice that I get to do what I love every day.
Can I point on 2 things that you said here? One, your business is only 2 years old, which I think is just like incredible with how far that you've come. I mean, I wasn't here when you opened, but also,
which is crazy.
I know.
I feel like you've been here forever.
I know. I've only been here a year, which is wild to me as well. But the other thing is too, like when you were working at Street, when you were working at Lululemon, when you decided to go ahead and make Mint like a real thing. Like this wasn't like, you weren't like 19, 20 years old when you were like finishing in school. Like I think so many times when we finish high school, we think that is when our life needs to be determined for us. We think we need to pick a major, and we think we need to commit to that major, and we think we need to graduate or go to grad school or do whatever the next thing is for us to do in our life to continue to fulfill these societal norms that we're set out to do. And we think when we've hit, what, you're maybe 30 when you're...
Oh, she's so cute.
I was 30. She was 29.
I'm only 32, folks.
Yeah, exactly. But it's like, you know what I mean? Like, people, like, you just turned 32, and it's like, that's like a not, like, you're 30. You're not, like, you can still change your mind.
Totally. Yeah.
You know, like, or not change your mind. You can still, like, start your goal or start chasing that thing. Yeah. We just think, like, if we haven't figured it out at, like, 21 when we graduated college, then, like, we're stuck on this same path forever, and we can't change.
Yeah.
To be honest, if I'm a grandfather sitting in a rocking chair one day in my log cabin lake house, just visualizing that's what I really want to happen. I'm gonna tell my grandkids that honestly, like your 20s are just like go fuck up early and often, because those fuck up, like take risks, like start a business, like go travel the world, like do these things because they're gonna teach you lessons and give you a lot of wisdom. Like I failed so many times.
It's not
so
failing.
many things.
Stop saying that.
Yeah, you don't use that word.
Okay,
you need to take that word right out of your vocabulary.
Okay, I have tried a lot of things.
You have a multitude of experiences that led you.
I have a multitude of experiences that have led me to this exact point, and I think what it's done, like I was excited for 30 because I have honored and taken care of my body, so I still feel like I can do all the cool things, and now I have wisdom, so it's like, all right, now let's start attacking this with like some intelligence, because I mean I was working hard but not probably smart in my 20s, and now it's like, okay, let's like work hard and smart at the same time and see what kind of castles we can build. You know what I mean? And it's like that's the way I've looked at 30. And I used to like listen to people say, oh, 30.
Well, and not even just like 30. Don't even look at it that way. Like you could be 50 tomorrow and you could still change your mind. Like it doesn't.
I'm gonna be 36.
Matter.
Yeah, and it's just now happening. You know, like that's and that for me, no, it doesn't matter. Because I mean, you know, when we were talking before, like I didn't have my 20s to go. I had to put a roof over my head.
Yeah.
And that's the other thing. Everybody's life is so different. So different. So stop comparing.
I know. Oh, we're circling back.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of always like, all right, takeaways, circling back time.
Honeycomb brain. Female has a honeycomb brain. That's what they call that, like the circling back.
Yeah.
You can have like 8 different conversations. You always got to circle back and finish.
Yeah. I love whenever I'm done with a meeting, I'm like, so our takeaways today.
Yeah, absolutely. No, you gotta recap. You gotta make sure the message is.
Well, also because I'm like, ding, 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 my ADD is being taught. But yes, I mean, it's so true that, you know, if there's not a life book out there. You know, you really are the owner of your own life plan, and stop giving yourself restrictions. Stop giving yourself timelines. If you want to do it when you're 40, if you want to become an NBA player when you're 40, I mean, it might be a little difficult. I'm talking about sports right now. I have no idea. So let's maybe bring it into what I know. You want to become, it's just, it doesn't matter your age. If you have that fire inside of you and you're ready to like grow that and what do they call it when you're torching a fire? I mean, when you're building.
Stoking the fire.
Stoking the fire. When you're, see, when he's a grandfather in his rocking chair, he's stoking fires.
Yes, I will be. Yes, I will be. It'll be the best fire you've ever seen.
Courtney's going to be an NBA player.
Watch out.
I'm going to be that dirty grandpa stoking fires.
I know.
That sounds great to me,
We all have
actually.
great careers ahead of us.
Amazing.
This is amazing.
I
have to grow a little bit. I'm the only NBA player with like heels on.
I just like pictured you shooting a basket.
Okay, fun Courtney fact. I actually have phenomenal hand-eye coordination.
Really? All right.
I don't know what it is. Like, I wouldn't throw a knife at me, but you could like throw a knife at me and I'd be like it's
Let's
something.
not try that one.
Yeah, maybe like a ball, like
maybe dodge a wrench like that.
Yeah.
Oh my god! I walk into work, I'm just gonna knife.
If you can dodge a wrench, ladies, you can dodge a ball. Wait, what does that have to do with working at a mint boutique? Everything.
Oh my god, I'm on.
Dude, this is my insurance.
No, this is great though.
This is why I'm in the
So I'm gonna bring it back to you were talking about.
I hope we didn't lose any of people.
No,
are you getting further and further away from me? Or am I getting closer to Sean?
It's this pillow. I felt like it was really separating
back.
Us at the beginning. I didn't want to say anything.
What I wanted to talk about is you talked about those moments of like, you know, you were looking at other boutiques, but you were just focused on like, oh, I earned myself a rug this month, and like, I got a new mirror. And I wanted to take a moment to thank the entire Wild Hearts community because of you guys and purchasing these shirts, we were able to purchase a mic yesterday so that we can have better audio and hopefully be putting this on iTunes before March 1st. So thank you so much from the bottom of our hearts. Like, again, we're trying to create this community. You guys are a huge part of it and supporting it, and we honestly couldn't have done that without you. And that for me is like a brand new rug or a brand new mirror. Like, it's super exciting. I can't wait to be like,
and t-shirts are still on sale.
So is everybody getting a mic, or they do have like pieces?
Well, we're working.
So the more t-shirts we sell, the more props we can have.
So
I like that.
Yeah. So
one microphone.
Speaking of t-shirts, so first order is in. We are working on distribution of that. Hopefully, everyone will have their t-shirt by the end of the week. And
they're great. I bought mine a while ago.
Yeah.
It washes well. It's really. I liked the white. I thought it was bright.
Yeah. Yeah. We have white, black, and maroon, and we're starting round 2 of orders. So if you guys didn't get one first round, want one this round, let us know. And
guess what?
Support.
The link's in the bio. It really is though.
Can somebody get a
sponsorship?
Round 2 shirts.
Yeah.
Can you sell them?
We should just get linked in the bio.
Link in the bio.
So.
Only I would think that was.
That's so
no,
good.
I know, that's hilarious.
You
No,
should
I can't wait to say it. I should get a tattoo.
Oh, that's so permanent.
Yeah,
that's
I know. No.
Do you have any tattoos?
No, I really want to get one.
Do you have any tattoos?
Do you? Do you?
I have 2. And I regret them both.
So I did an entire project in my senior year of high school on tattoos and their symbolism, and again, like a human being, a tattoo represents a story.
Yeah,
and that's what I love about it. So like,
no regrets.
I've wanted to get them, but I just really wanted to like have a lot of
stuff. Just to where you are right now.
So I want to put your house down. That note.
Moving on. We're quickly going to be going down.
Also, you can see kind of like your listeners and your viewers. Like it has like your highs and lows when you like watch the story. And I thought it was like really comical to see like where people were like off, and then they like came back.
See you later.
They were jam stamped, and they were like,
I don't know. That might be different.
I mean, maybe for like, oh wow, I want to hear more about this.
Oh my god.
So to get back on track, we are running out of time, so there's a few major things I want to talk about. So I think one of the coolest parts of your store, I mean, there's a lot of cool parts, but the fact that as you were about to open your building, the 2 buildings next to it burned down.
Yeah, well, Louis didn't technically burn down, but it was, it's no longer antiquity. So
talk about that. I mean, if it's meant to be, it'll be.
So it is, and I'm one of those too. I'm a big believer of it. Almost was like going too well. Like when you're waiting for the other shoe to drop, and I hate saying that, but you have certain situations in your life, like your mother dying tragically, that all of a sudden you're just, when it starts to feel too good, you're like, something's gonna happen, and we signed the lease. I was able to get into the building. I believe it was April 2nd. I'm located where Buff and File was. So they moved out. They have a beautiful new location. And I moved in. My husband and I were painting the walls, buffing the floors, and we had left for the evening. And I remember being like, can you please go get that box of shipment? We had our first box waiting to be hung in our living room. And he was like, let's just do it in the morning. The paint's not fully dried. And at 4 o'clock in the morning, I received a phone call from my, now mother-in-law. And she's like, your building's on fire. And I was like, Chris picked it up. So he's just like, okay, what, huh? And I'm now like propped up in bed, like, what's going on? And he's like, we have to go down to your store. State Street Saloon caught fire a little after midnight. Now, just a little comical point. I have like crazy curly hair. There's only maybe 4 people that have seen it. Oh, it's like, it would make your hair look straight. Yeah. Like it's kind of, Chris calls it my Shakira hair. It's just, and I had on a bed shirt that said, wake me when I'm famous. So here's Courtney running towards the fire in her Shakira hair, her wake me when I'm famous shirt.
So perfect.
Newscasters are like, ma'am, can we have a moment with you? And I was like hell. Like I was just like running frantically. You would have thought I set the fire. And sure enough, at the time I had like paper, if you will, on my windows, so it kind of set this like mysterious grand reveal element. And the State Street Saloon had at this point fallen, and they're on top of Louis. The firefighters are fighting, tirelessly. The water is just everywhere. I mean, rivers are flying down Pleasant Street, and I'm like, you've got to be kidding with me. I'm supposed to open on, I think it was like the 27th of April, which at that point was, you know, a week and a half away. And I'm like, this is it. This was the thing that was going to happen. But I was like, really? Like to this extreme?
Yeah.
I was thinking like, you know, a box of sugar would have been messed up. My hangers arrived late. Like maybe my table leg would have broke. Oh no, a 5-round fire? Awesome. So I was just like, well, if anybody can do it, it's you. You're not handed anything you cannot handle. And it was great, but I kind of was shaking my head because I'm like, I don't know if I just can't do it. Then I'm like, you can do it. You got this, you're fine. I went to both my jobs. They're like, yes, we would love you to stay an extra, you know, 2-3 weeks, 100%. And we just kind of like worked a little bit harder. We had to repaint the store. We had to rebuff the floors. Chris and his dear friend actually went in the day I was at street and like painted everything for me, which was just, he's unbelievable. But yeah, it's been difficult being on that road because a lot of times, especially tourists, they see the blue tarp and they won't come down the road. So I am still very hidden, even though when I had signed, I was like, oh, I'm in this blossoming neighborhood. We have Louis Restaurant, which was just incredible. State Street Saloon, which kind of had this like interesting demographic variety, if you will, because you had the State Street people and the Louis people. And so it kind of was like, neat, I'm going to get like an influx of, you know, a variety of people. And then Clipper Tavern had opened across the street. And so it was certainly blossoming on my end. And then it was gone. And I felt defeated. At times I still feel defeated. But you know, these events, they really help. And that's what's really important to me is just being creative and thinking outside the box, dusting off that old marketing degree and kind of figuring it out. Yeah. But yeah, I was very much in shock that was the boot that fell off the foot. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, but I think that's like so cool though. Like there's so many obstacles and like you just, like you said, like I can handle this. I'm not even anything I can't handle. And I mean, anyone that's going after it, you know, like I feel like if you're truly moving from a place of your heart, like you'll find a way.
That's
like, where there's a will, there's a way. And that's what, like when we talk about living with a wild heart, I mean, for me, I know this is the first time in my life I'm doing things from my heart, not to like make money or to fulfill society's or like my family's or whoever's needs. Like this is for me, this is for my heart. And like there's been obstacles, you know, and it's like whatever it takes, I don't care. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, it's beautiful. It's so true.
Can you talk about Chris a little bit?
Oh, the love of my life.
He's an angel.
Chris is an amazing human being. So we're both Geminis. And yeah, there's 4 of us 100% in the relationship. And it works all the time where we're like, oh, yay, high energy. And then if one of us is being like the sensitive one and the other one's being the high energy one, like we know to be like, understand that. But Chris and I met in an interesting way. I had gotten out of technical writing class early, and I was meeting my girlfriend. She was bartending at this place downtown, and I said, oh, I'll come in, I'll have a martini and a sushi roll. And in walks in the guy she's dating, accompanied by Chris. And, you know, it feels so cheesy saying this. It was love at first sight. I saw him like a beacon, and I was like, that's my person. Like it was this really weird thing that had happened, and I'm a fairly confident person, and so I walked out. I was like, we're gonna go dancing, and he's like, it's Wednesday, and I was like, we're gonna go to the Red Door, ladies' night, espresso martinis. Like I couldn't. I was like, this is my person. Like I'm putting him in my pocket forever, and I cannot wait to like, you know, blossom with this guy. And sure enough, he was just as wild and crazy as me, and we've been together now 5 years, whatever. I think it's a little over 5 years. And it's just every single day he is so supportive, so loving, so kind. I cannot wait to start a family with him. He is our kid's gonna come out though, like when we decide to have children, like with a cape on. Like we are both so high energy that I'm worried for the world. Either the babe's gonna come out and be like very quiet, or I'll be like, ah. So well, time will tell. But yeah, so he is certainly my #1 fan, and you know, and I am that for him. And we're great at checking in. And you know, if things come up for him or myself where there might be a moving element in the sense of, you know, change and, you know, financial change, physical change, whatever it may be, it's like, all right, well, how do you feel about that? You know, what can I do to support that? And we're great at communicating. And as silly as that sounds, and he says it all the time, that is the key to our relationship. 100%. And we are both talkers, but the best part is we taught each other how to both be listeners. And it works. Yeah, so I love you, Chris, so much. I know you'll watch later. But
and he's, I saw him shoveling the other day for you. What a guy.
He's amazing. But it's not even like I had to be like, babe, please shovel.
No, he just shows up.
He just shows up. Mind you, I'm in the corner boomeranging him. Like, I am not even helping him. And he doesn't even bat an eye. Afterwards, he was like, oh, do you want a cute boomerang of you throwing snow in the air? Yeah. The answer was always yeah.
Oh,
but I'm like, who are you? Yeah. Like, how did I get so lucky? So sometimes when I think about, like, you know, my shitty deck and the things that might have been handed to me, I'm very much reminded of, like, but you have Chris. You know, you have that person in your life that's your guy, you know, and that's, I mean, I hate to say it, we're soulmates. Like, it's 100%.
Don't hate to say it.
Yeah,
I know, but I feel bad for those that are like, why can't I find, and it's like, he's out there, you know, but.
But it's like, that's your journey. You found him exactly when you're supposed to, and everyone else will too. Like,
and I didn't find him in my 20s.
Yeah.
You know, and I didn't find him looking for him. It's, you know,
I think that's a huge piece of it. I mean, the one thing, like, I met you guys like a couple weeks ago, and I think the one thing I've noticed about Chris is, I work at Armando's as well, guys, and I swear to God, every time Chris comes in, he comes in and finds me.
Yeah.
And he's like super thoughtful. He gave me a nice hustle on the ass one time. That was amazing. Thanks, Chris.
I don't know what that exactly means, but
no, like, he slapped my ass and was like, hey, how's it going? I was like, wow, how'd you know I played hockey? And that's how we say hi. But no, I mean, he's just a really thoughtful guy, and I think that's really, I think the reason why I always like to talk to guests about like a relationship that's really helped them, like, been an addition to their life, is like, I created this story in my life that, like, having a relationship will hold me back, you know, and like, that's been my story. So, like, it's like kind of validation for me that that's bullshit.
Just the opposite,
and like, you know what I mean? If you aren't seeking and, like, you allow that in, like, it can be this beautiful thing. And we've had a lot of guests that have that, and it's like, that's an inspiration for me. Because that's, like, hasn't always been my highlight reel. You know what I mean? So that's really cool. So appreciate you.
You know, a relationship can help you find your voice. You know, and that's really what Chris did for me. I felt for the first time safe enough to say yes to me. And I know I said that a lot in our questionnaire, you know, that moment when you say, like, yes to yourself. And it's, you know, I'm not like, I don't need no guy, don't get me wrong, but it's like, he really did allow me to be like, you're safe. If you take this challenge and something happens, like, you're going to be okay. You know, you're going to have at least one fan out there that said, you know, you did it, you tried.
Absolutely.
So that's really cool.
I think it's interesting too to hear different stories as well. Like, do you think, because nobody meets, it's not like some people meet their, like, person when they're really, really young and they're together forever. And other people don't meet their person until they're 50, you know? Like, it's so.
Some people meet them on their third marriage.
Yeah. Do you find that I'm just thinking back to, like, Ray and Miles last week, and I thought this was interesting.
They are so cute together.
Yeah, they are.
Oh my gosh.
Adorable.
Yeah, they are really cute.
But they spoke to, like, this idea of, and they posted something on Instagram recently about it as well, where it's like they had kind of found themselves independently first before they found each other.
Yes, and I actually think that was a major building block in our relationship, was we had the opportunity to, like, discover who we were, because, you know, going back to that communication part, I knew what I was and wasn't going to stand for, and same with him. You know, and even, like, you know, we were chatting about, you know, your careers and your failed attempts to this and the other thing. That's how I viewed, you know, other relationships. It wasn't a failure per se. It was a learning moment. And, you know, we both had a past. I'm not saying, you know, we both had long-term relationships, and they made us the best person for each other. I always really enjoy when I hear girls that are like, you know, I taught him how to be a good boyfriend, and now Sandra is reaping the benefits. And I'm just like, well, that's what happens. You know, like, you do teach somebody in a friendship or you know, a loving relationship. I don't know, a relationship, romantic. There's the word. You know, it's a learning experience, and it's like, you know, we're not going to take away and go to a next, I hope, but, you know, while you're in them, that's what you're doing. You know, you are learning a little bit about yourself, and you are becoming a better version of yourself, so you can be that to somebody else too, because you're going to continue to grow. Chris and I are so different from the people we were when we first met.
Who I was 5 years ago. It's like,
Oh, it's wild.
I don't even recognize
And
it.
you said you're 30 now or
Yeah.
32?
30.
30. Oh, and I cannot wait to see you when you're 35.
Yeah, I can't even.
35 was my favorite year.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
We have this prediction that I'm going to be a really calm, stoic
I think
man
Sean's
with
going to be a
beard,
very,
Zen
very
master.
quiet. in the
Really?
future.
Well, because as much as I'm high energy, I've just learned how to. I used to be even more, if you can even imagine that. And it's
Like,
like,
even just,
I've
like,
learned how
2
to
seconds
be
ago.
calm. I think right now, like, life's just. I literally keep telling people my life's 8,000 miles per hour, so that's why I'm more on the high energy side. But like, when I can find grounded, like that's the space I want to operate from, because you take a breath before action. You make smarter decisions. Like, you don't, because I mean, I think I get excited, and making decisions from an excited place and a sad place are like the two absolute worst places to do, because like you're super excited and you're like, yeah, you feel great then, but then you're like,
Yeah,
oh wait a minute, when it comes down to the actual reality of it. So,
that's cool.
but yeah, that's my
I
favorite.
like that.
Yeah.
It's funny that we've lost some of the screens.
We have lost a couple
Does that
screens.
matter?
My
No.
computer
I
might
think
have died.
Sean's died, so that might matter, but this is
Okay.
the most important
Well, this
one.
one's got better
That's
quality.
the
anyway.
point.
Well, that's just because we've been talking for like a very long
Okay,
time.
all right. So,
We have one final question. Do you have anything
Oh.
else?
No, that's it.
What does it mean to have a wild heart to you?
oh. So what it means, and truthfully, I forget what I wrote in the questionnaire, but so I'll kind of be speaking from the hip here.
Yeah.
I think having a wild heart means that you are able to go out and explore and and find out who you are, but doing it from the beating pulse of your own heart. You know, go out and say yes to yourself and do the crazy things, do the adventures, go cross country, rock in your rocking chair, you know, whatever it is, as long as you're doing it with the beating of your own heart, as long as you're doing it with that pulse of knowing that it's good for you, you know, but don't, they say like, don't, what is it, don't try and,
You're struggling with fire terminology today?
I don't know, I'm just struggling with words and the coffee kicked in, but it's not tender because I'm thinking tender of a broken heart, but don't tame. Don't tame a wild heart, and it's really like, you know, like that'll be on the back of the shirt as well. But it's really like so that it's just gonna be a novel. But it's like really like go out there and explore who you are, you know, because you only have one heart. It's interesting. You think of your other organs, and there's two of them, you know, and they need that companionship. They need that stability of the other thing. But your heart, you have one. And you have one for a reason, because it's strong enough to be by itself. As you are with your own soul, you are strong enough. You don't need another person. So go out there, see what you want to do in this world, be the best version of yourself, but do it with your beating heart. Do it. Every notion of it should come from within and should come with purity of your heart. And that's gonna be pretty cool.
That was so good.
That's so
Wow.
Please
Okay,
stay
like I said,
forever.
she's coming out with a book
I'm gonna
soon.
be their new intern because I have Mondays
Yes,
off.
please, yes. Oh my god, that would be so special.
That would be
Please.
amazing. You guys wake up, I'm like already here. I'm like,
Like
oh.
6 in the
brewing
morning.
coffee.
Well,
Already got
hopefully it won't be
3:43
here.
this morning.
Yeah, 3:43.
I was just like
Legendary.
really, I was excited.
That's awesome.
That's good.
I didn't sleep very much last night.
I don't sleep on
Yeah.
Sundays, so I'm like,
I really
long
just
hours.
was like, oh, please, it's time.
Woo!
It's like completely pitch black out. It's like
Yeah.
1 in the morning.
I feel bad though, because I always wake up Chris. We're doing a thing right now where we're like, you store the blankets, no, you store the blankets. And I'm like, no, so the blankets are in between us. And it's the worst.
Oh my god, that's hilarious.
All
But
right.
thank you for tuning in,
Where
friends.
can people find you?
I have 92
The
Pleasant
link
Street.
is
I was like, yeah, the link is 100% in bio. But 92 Pleasant Street, Portsmouth, New Hampshire is where Mint is located. I am there most days. I do have a couple gals in my staff that if I'm not there, they're 100% the best replica of who I am. I couldn't be, we didn't even touch upon that. I love the girls in my store. I'm so blessed and grateful for them. But yeah, I come and say hi. Come, come just check it out and give me a hug.
Do you have a
Yes,
website?
I'm a big hugger. We're building our website.
Okay.
People are like really upset that I don't have a website because I'm such an in-house type of person. But it is mintboutiquenh.com. But anytime you DM us on Instagram, that's me talking back to you. I'm always here to help you, navigate you to the best thing. But I look forward to hopefully seeing any of you guys in our events.
Yay!
We have them monthly. Michaela will be at 2 of them now in February.
13th and the 17th.
Big deals.
Link is in the bio.
Link is in the bio. All the bios.
Have a
All
great
right.
Have a
Monday,
good
guys.
day.
Bye,
Great
guys.
Monday. Yay!